turned to an addict. I brought me a paddock. I brought her a baby one. Yeah, I brought me a Maybach. Came with 2 doors. Yeah, that's the Mercedes one. I stay with the gadgets. I'm counting the cabbage while making my lady come. I brought a G-Wagon.
You look kinda weak. No holding back. Please fight me with all your strength. Now I'm mad.
The Cheeto.
Take it. Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 is not your average fighting game. If you slack off in my class, you will surely fail. Good. Now pay attention while we go over animations. Animations consist of 3 main components known as frames: startup frames, active frames, and recovery frames. Frames are the unit of measurement we use on a per-second basis, also known as FPS. On console, Naruto Storm 4 is a 30 FPS game, which means the camera captures 30 frames in a single second of video. The higher the frames, the smoother the video will be. In this example, it takes Ryu 5 frames to complete one punch. The first 3 frames are dedicated to starting the punch and the last 2 frames are used to recover. In theory, with frame-perfect input, Ryu can perform 5 punches within 1 second on a 30 FPS game. Can you identify these 3 frame components within Naruto? Let's take a look. Were you able to identify all the frames? Of course not. There are over 90 frames in one combo alone. Your eyes and your brain are doing a lot of work to process images, more than you may realize. You may not be thinking about how many frames per second your eyes can see, but your brain is using all the visual cues it can to help you make decisions. A hitbox is an invisible box, or sphere, that determines where an attack hits. A hurt box on the other side is also an invisible box, or sphere, but it determines where a player or object can be hit by a hitbox. Knowing that information, we can find visual cues on how long it takes for your character's hitbox, aka the attack, to connect with the enemy. Let us identify some of these cues so we can measure the timing of a character's starting frames to active frames.
Why is this important, Iruka-sensei? Sheesh FR.
Listen, kid. Knowing the speed, distance, and area of your starting frame, you can make informed decisions on which character will get first hit priority. On the other hand, your active frames will give you insight on whether you should engage or disengage depending on the situation, offensively or defensively.
But Iruka-sensei, you forgot about recovery frames.
You know, Kevin, it's never too late to shut those dry-ass lips and just listen. Recovery frames is the amount of time it takes to perform another action. Lastly, animation canceling is the act of ending an action, ability, or attack animation earlier than it would end without canceling its animation to save time or prolong effects. This can be achieved by many things such as countering, dashing, guarding, interruptions, jumping, or tools. And let's not forget chakra shurikens as well.
It's shurikens.
Let's simplify and extrapolate some frames within a combo so we can get a clearer idea on how animations work in Storm 4. But first we're going to look at the last Sasuke as an example. Sasuke has a maximum of 6 hits in a combo. The first 4 of those hits are known as the opening string, which are the preliminary attacks before bridging off into any selected combo. In Sasuke's case, he has to traverse through all 4 hits in order to bridge onto the final 2 hits to finish any of his combos. Let's see what that looks like. A combo must meet its preliminary attack requirements in order to bridge into the final animation, meaning that some conditions must be met in order to proceed further into the combo, whether that be an enemy within proximity range, a successful hit, or both. This effect is known as the link within the combo string. Sasuke can freely attack up to 5 times within his combo. The 4th hit is where he selects which combo to pursue. His 5th hit is known as the required link to continue onto his 6th-hit closing attack. Some combos don't have any requirements such as links and bridges in order to finish its closing attack. These combos usually don't have any finishing cutscene animations. You can predominantly think of shuriken-focused characters, and up combos. Note that combos may have multiple links in order to meet the closing string. For simplicity reason, we will use this visualization to represent combos. Remember how I mentioned that Naruto Storm 4 on console is a 30 FPS game? Let's break that down further. Each hit within a combo has a set amount of frames it has to go through in order to reach the next hit in the string. Note that not all strings have the same amount of frames. Here's a visualization of what it may look like.
Hold up, Sensei. I'm confused. You said there are over 90 frames in combos and you want to break that down? What's the point? Why is this significant? And why do you look constipated?
He's right, Sensei. This is boring and nerdy. Can we get onto learning rad stuff like crucifixion glitches, sub-banking, and 0 to 100 DAF combos?
Listen kids, you must know these fundamentals. This is the cool stuff. Once you master this shit, you can start discovering some tricks of your own. Mastering the frames inside of your combos can do many things such as trigger stun lock effects, optimized your stun, and cancel durations. You can even break camera angles and preserve movement. However, this is all character specific. For now, let us see how we can use this knowledge to optimize the last Sasuke's combos. We can pull off an ultimate jutsu within his combo. In order to achieve that, we need to time an attack that provides a hit stun longer than 67 frames. This is the amount of time for the ultimate jutsu to fire and connect to the opponent. We can make use of his hit stun duration within his 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string. Great. There are more things I must mention about animations. This will not take long, kids, I promise.
Iruka-sensei, before we proceed, I want to make sure I understand what we've learned so far. Correct me if I'm wrong. So when I attack, this initiates an animation, and these animations consist of a fixed number of frames between each button press. Animations can also be cancelled in order to initiate another action outside that animation, like fireballs, ultimate jutsu, or even starting another combo. Here is where I'm lost. So why can't I cancel all my animations? Why does my enemy slip out of my combo sometimes? Why is my enemy stunned in certain parts of my animation longer than others? And lastly, why does your face look like that?
Great questions, Emily. Your mother gave me this face. But first, there is one correction. Your combo animations don't have a fixed number of frames. For example, you can slow down your combos by timing your button presses at the last possible frames of the animation on your attack. This will extend the timing of your combos from start to finish.
Sensei, you speak nonsense. Just attack fast and this will ensure a fixed amount of frames each time.
Well, perhaps you may need to get through the combos as fast as possible, but that is not required. In circumstances where you know your enemy will sub, it may be best to slow down in order to get your enemy's sub, then you can cancel the animation of your combos and perform another action. Great question. Hey class, here is where it gets interesting. Just remember as we go forward that a combo consists of strings which are the individual button presses. All strings has an animation tied to them, and animations are made up of many frames, starting, active, and recovery frames. And lastly, all actions has an animation, for example, tilts, jutsus, dashes, and ultimates.
Alright Sensei, it's been over 10 minutes already. Hurry up, continue.
Yes Selma, it has been over 10 minutes. Now shut up and listen. We covered the backbone of a combo which consists of links, strings, bridges. We also learned about canceling animation by activating an action on specific frames. Now let's tie this together and learn about the rules of this game.
Hold on Sensei, you're telling us that there are rules to how we play this game.
Ha ha ha, not rules to how we play but the mechanical rules that are consistent and cannot be broken.
What did she say?
I said, mechanics that cannot be broken within Naruto Storm 4. Every character in the game has a combo but not all have the same animation properties. What does that mean, you may ask? Animations can fall into one of two categories, a soft animation or a hard animation. The main difference between the two lies within the effects and properties of the frames. A soft animation may look like a quick punch or a series of attacks that can be cancelled perceivably at any time due to the short duration on the attack. While a hard animation may consist of a long drawn-out attack that must play out, and cannot be cancelled during the active frames with standard cancelling methods.
Oh okay, so that explains why I get stuck in my combo. It was a hard animation that had to play out. Sensei, in that case, does that mean a character can have multiple animation types inside of one combo?
Yes, you got it. Usually characters have a mix of the two, but there are very few characters that only has one animation type within all their strings. Good observation, Emily. You're quickly becoming my star student like Naruto. There are pros and cons to each type of hit, but before I elaborate on this, do you remember how we used the last Sasuke ultimate jutsu inside of his combo?
Yes, we achieved that by timing his frames.
Not only that, this was possible by the effects that the string applies unto the enemy. When attacking your opposition, whether it be by a soft or hard animation, it applies a stun duration to the enemy. These effects are applied on contact. This is necessary because your enemy will just walk away from you while being attacked. The general rule is that soft animations are attacks that usually applies a quick stun effect on contact. The stun duration can vary but are usually short in nature. These attacks can also be applied in rapid intervals, which may give the illusion of a hard animation. In some circumstances, the stun may be long enough to convert into another combo. While hard animations binds the opponent to a fixed position within the animation for the duration of that animation on contact. This type of animation may be cancelled with standard cancelling methods during the starting or recovery frames, but usually requires forceful methods to cancel the active frame. What makes these actions be considered a hard animation is that when forcefully cancelled, it unbinds you from the combo and leaves the effects on your opponent for the duration of that animation until reaching the next interval within the combo. You can think of Sage Mode Hashirama.
I'm thinking of Sage Mode Hashirama, but I can't differentiate between his hard and soft animations. I like to go through my combos fast like Egg Boy sitting next to me, but how can I properly identify these types of animations and what are the main effects between the two that I can test to verify?
And what are these standard cancel methods you mentioned earlier, Iruka-sensei?
Damn bruh, you two sound like full-grown men. but I think you asked what are the standard methods. The standard cancel methods don't involve consuming limited resources, like jumps, ninja moves, guarding, grabs, and even doing nothing at all. On the other hand, forceful cancel methods does use limited resources which include replenishable ones as well. Counters, dashing, jutsu, ultimate jutsu, chakra shurikens, and switching. Hashirama is a great character to learn, because he possesses both animation types. Here are a few examples within his combos. The end result of each animations is that they are stunned. Can you identify which animation is which? To an untrained eye you'll be guessing, but we can verify the effects by simply throwing a projectile during the stunning effect. If the projectile interrupts the stun, it's a soft animation, if not then it's a hard animation. You can also verify if it's an animation lock when your opponent yells, "I can't do anything," "WTF why can't I move?" or "Bro I'm button locked." And these rules stay true with input buffers as well. Note that hard animations with long durations and soft animation that applies strong stun times are most effective for that technique. Input buffers is when the game accepts incoming information for a short period of time before it continues to the CPU for processing. In-game that translate to your character performing an action or multiple actions after inputting it on your controller. You can do this by holding the attack button and switching right away, or alternatively, you can tap the attack button multiple times, and right before switching you can grab, jutsu, jump, or throw a chakra shuriken and it will perform that action right after the combo. I recommend watching these guides on screen to properly perform this technique.
Sensei, what are the different effects that an animation can have?
There are many effects, not only on your opposition but yourself as well. This is where it gets fun. I will explain a few, but I encourage you to explore. There are the usual effects that we all know, like knockdowns, knockbacks, knockups, and stuns. Some of these can lose its potency by your opponent counter actions like recovering, subbing, and guarding, and positioning. We consider that soft effects. On the other hand, some may not be counterable and we will consider those hard effects. Effects can also be chained together. Here's a thought exercise. Think of your ninja tools and what statuses they apply. These status effects does not only reside in your ninja tools, and may also be applied within an animation of some sort. For example, Konoha Maru's awakening actions give him increased speed for a short duration. Another good example is that all awakenings has the chainmail effect. Those were examples of hidden statuses within the game, but some of these actions may increase or decrease your character's jump and movement velocity, and even enhance elemental effects when enabled. If you want to be real advanced, you can manipulate a character's speed properties and positioning.
Now sensei, that sounds like exploits.
Well, of course, exploiting is just manipulating the game rules to achieve a certain outcome. Technically, forcefully canceling animations is exploiting as well, since we apply the effects for the duration of the animation onto the enemy but remove it from ourselves. But not all exploits are equal. Look at Kaguya, she is an exploit within herself, but we learn and adapt. The key takeaway from animation effects is that they can not only be applied to an enemy on contact but can be self-applied as well. Effects contain properties which are a number of variables that can be manipulated, such as speed, height, positioning, etc. Check out Exact's video on screen to learn more about this. Lastly, you need to know about damage types. I saved this for last because it can be hard for some to grasp, but is quite simple once you understand it. All attacks has a damage type associated with it, and this is activated upon collision. These damage types fall into 3 categories: physical, projectile, and placement. They all contain specific effects. Some may have both effects, but regardless of the damage type, every effect has its own priority level within that damage category, which just means the stopping power it has against the opposing effects. Priority levels ranges from absolute to none at all, but this is all relative to what the damage effect collides with. For example, a low priority projectile can still stop high priority physical attacks, and some low physical attacks can counter high placement ones. Or just think of a multi-layered game of rock, paper, scissors.
Sensei, you speak nonsense once again. There are no damage types inside this game, other than status effects like burn, lightning, and water. You liar, liar pants on fire.
Settle down, Eggboy. Here is what I mean. There are 3 collision types, which I refer to them as damage types for the sake of simplicity. Each effect will determine how you will sub, how the damage will be applied, and what will take priority. Physical damage are attacks that are binded to the active character. When physical damage is subbed, you will be placed behind your opponent. And projectile damage. The main concept is that this damage is its own entity from the character that fires it. On contact, it will apply an immediate effect. When subbed, you will be placed in the same location due to the entity being disassociated from the character itself. And lastly, placement. This damage type is a hybrid, meaning that it can exist as a physical or projectile and sometimes both. Usually these abilities are stationary, but the key difference is that they require a trigger to apply the damage and can have multiple stages after activation or serve an alternative purpose other than the damga. This damage type will stay on field and cannot be subbed right away until the effect is triggered or expired and sometimes blocked. Well class, this was a very information-heavy session. I think it's time to take the test. Kono ha Maru, I expect you to ace this test and show Big Brother Naruto how well you did. Emily, you as well. Congratulations, you have passed my class. It was nice having you around, but it's time for you to proceed to the advanced placement classes. It will be hard, but you're in good hands. Eager to know your teacher, I see. Here's a clue. It's the White Fang of the Leaf Village Sun. His class is short, but you can expect to learn a lot.
Hello there.
Whoa, I didn't see you up there.
Hiya, I didn't mean to startle you. I was just reading my Icha tactics book. I couldn't help but hear you weeping. What's the matter?
It's the academy students. The majority of them failed. I'm not fit to teach the next generation of Naruto Storm 4 players. If they failed my class, how can I expect to teach them the complexity of movement? Only a very few have passed my class. The will of fire is just not there anymore.
I see. It's not the students who are failing, it's the teacher. You've lost the will of fire.
Kakashi, you're right. I've been too tough on my students.
Iruka-sensei, thanks to you I was able to figure out how to do crucifixion and sleep glitches, by manipulating the animations. Have a look, sensei.
Do not worry. I'll teach the next generation. Tell your passing students to meet me at the creek. And Iruka, don't be so hard on yourself, you're just at your limits. Ciao.